Our energy future, it's coming at us way faster than you might think. We're all in on clean power from the sun and the wind, but, and this is a big but, there's a huge problem. Our entire power grid was built for a completely different century. So the question is, how do we plug our green future into our analog past? Well, let's dive into the smart grid revolution. Just take a look at this. It's basically the circulatory system of our modern world, right? This incredibly complex web brings power to literally everything we do. For about 100 years, it's been the silent, super reliable workhorse of our society. But this 20th century marvel is now facing a massive 21st century challenge, and believe me, it is on the verge of its biggest evolution yet. And that leads us to a really big question here. We've got all this sun and all this wind, so why is it so darn complicated to actually power our world with them? Let's break it down.
Okay, first up, the big energy shift. We're going to look at why the move to green energy isn't just happening, it is accelerating like crazy.
The motivation, the driving force behind this whole shift is really clear. As the source material puts it, renewable energy is absolutely crucial for tackling climate change. So this isn't just about picking a different kind of power plant. It's a fundamental response to a global challenge. And the speed of this change? It's honestly kind of mind-boggling. Back in 2014 alone, the world added 44 gigawatts of solar power. To give you some perspective, that's like building dozens and dozens of huge traditional power plants in just 1 year. And that was years ago. The pace has only gotten faster since then. So, if we're moving so fast, what's the holdup? Well, this brings us to our grid's big problem. We're trying to run this new 21st century energy on a system built for the 20th century.
Yeah, our power grid was designed for a totally different time. It's basically a one-way street built around these massive centralized power plants, think coal and gas, that just churn out a constant, predictable flow of electricity whenever we tell them to.
And this slide just nails the central conflict. On one side, you have the old guard, predictable, controllable power plants. On the other, you have renewables like solar and wind, which are incredibly powerful, but they're unpredictable and spread out all over the place. I mean, you can't just call up the sun and ask it to shine a little brighter because everyone's making dinner. And this mismatch, it causes some major headaches. Power levels can fluctuate like crazy. The grid just wasn't built for energy to flow backwards from, say, your neighbor's solar panels. You also get what's called grid congestion, which is pretty much a traffic jam on the power lines when a huge wind farm tries to send all its power to a city far away. All of this makes balancing supply and demand a constant, high-stakes juggling act. So how in the world do we solve this puzzle? Well, let's introduce the hero of our story, the rise of smart grids. It's time to teach this old grid some very, very new tricks. So what exactly is a smart grid? Well, to put it simply, it's an upgraded electrical system that uses modern communication and computing to think and act intelligently. You can kind of think of it as giving our old electrical grid a much-needed brain transplant. So if the old grid was a network of one-way streets, with power flowing from the big plant down to you, a smart grid, like you're seeing here, is more like a dynamic, two-way superhighway. It connects all the pieces, you the consumer, the solar panels, the wind turbines, even electric cars, and it allows both energy and information to flow back and forth. It creates this flexible, responsive system that can adapt on the fly. Okay, so a smart grid helps manage the flow of power. That makes total sense. But that brings up another obvious question, right? What happens when the sun goes down or the wind just stops blowing? And that's where our second hero comes into the picture. Energy Storage Systems, or ESS. Honestly, the easiest way to think about these is as giant rechargeable batteries for the entire grid. They solve that whole intermittency problem by storing up excess energy when the sun is out and the wind is blowing, and then they release it when we need it the most. This diagram here shows you exactly how it works. When renewables are generating more power than we actually need at that moment, that extra energy, instead of just going to waste, gets funneled into an energy storage system. It's like the ultimate energy savings account, and it makes sure we have a stable, reliable power supply, 24/7, no matter what the weather is up to. So, you put all this together, what does it all add up to? Well, it adds up to a smarter, greener future. Let's talk about the real benefits of building this modern power grid. So, what's the payoff? Why are we going through all this trouble? The benefits are huge. We get a much more reliable grid that can actually heal itself, which means fewer blackouts. We get a far more sustainable system with way lower emissions. It can even lead to lower operating costs for utilities, and hopefully for all of us. And when a disaster does happen, power can be restored in a fraction of the time. It is simply a better, smarter, and cleaner system all around.
So when you look at it, the technology to build a clean, reliable, and intelligent energy future, it's not science fiction anymore. It's here today. Our grid is getting smarter. So the final and most crucial question is, are we? Are our policies, our markets, and even our own daily habits ready to keep up and embrace this revolution?